From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible news about your stocks, your bonds, your financial news, and also your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, live on air from the shores of Santa Monica, California, good morning. We'll go over those fourth stimulus checks that have landed in every U.S. state and how you can get them as well. Then we'll be turning to the Build Back Better Act that gets a new push today to get additional checks to you on top of those and huge checks abounds. Next up, we'll be turning to that sixth stimulus and developing news coming out of Germany and France minutes ago. What was said, I'll have the latest on that front. Next, we turn over to Ben Bernanke, head of the Federal Reserve, speaking about what the Federal Reserve is doing and what it needs to do next. This is big news. We talk about your incredible additional $300 on top of your existing benefits if hashtag Joe Make the Call happens. We'll have the latest details on that front as well. Next up, we have a lot of Fed governors speaking this week, one speaking tomorrow, and also we'll have a lot of economic news to go through this morning. Came in minutes ago. As we start a new day, the stocks are relatively flat. When we look at the price of gasoline, is hovering about 111, but that's just a start. Because if China comes off of lockdown the next few days, get ready for the price of gasoline at the pump to go even higher. We have the latest details on that today, live on air from Mornings. Then we go over to what is happening with the White House, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin. The latest comments from Jeff Bezos, yes, that head of the former head of Amazon. The big money that is in the Build Back Better Act, $15,000, $25,000. We'll have all those incredible sums of money because the toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. The coffee is brewing. It's a big, bold, beautiful new week. New checks, new money, big details across the board. Are you ready for it? It's Mornings LA because a fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. We'll have all that incredible money in this recording. Stay to the very end. And start by becoming a member. Go to the top of the chat and pin comment and becoming a member to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, let's get to it. It's Mornings LA and the details start right now. And good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It's a good day. And I hope you became a member. And congratulations to all the thousands of new members to this channel. The membership links at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. You need to become a member because guess what? That fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. You deserve to get it. And over this broadcast, I'm going to go over those incredible checks. Stay to the very end. We have a lot of money coming up. We have a lot of breaking news also to start the day. And a lot of previews of tonight's Evenings LA in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. As we start a new day, so much going on. Let's go over a rundown where we are as we start the new day and the new week at this very moment. How are you? Good morning. Hope the weather is good where you are. The Dow Jones right at the moment, at the time of this live broadcast, is flat, down less than 1%. NASDAQ down less than 1% as well. Brent crude relatively flat, 112 a barrel. Bitcoin at 29,700, Ethereum at 2,000, and Decentraland at 121. Today, for Monday, we're going to see corporate earnings coming in from Warby Parker, but we're going to hear Fed President John Williams speaking, actually probably just started just a few minutes ago, 8:55 a.m. And then tomorrow, we're going to hear corporate earnings from Walmart, Home Depot, and others, and Fed President James Bullard out of Fed governor out of St. Louis speaking tomorrow. When we look at the Build Back Better Act, we have a lot of breaking, developing details on that front today as we start a new week. First, we have Jeff Bezos, former head of Amazon. He said, in fact, the administration tried very hard to inject even more stimulus into an already overheated inflationary economy and only got Manchin to save them from themselves. Inflation is a regressive tax that hurts most of the least affluent. Misdirection doesn't help the country. That was a comment by Jeff Bezos, former head of Amazon. So is that correct? Half of the quote is correct. Half of the quote is incorrect. The first part, that stimulus causes inflation, is absolutely incorrect. And the comment that giving stimulus hurts the economy or creates more inflation is actually untrue. In fact, Bezos should know that. When you give stimulus to the American people, guess what? They go spend it. And when they go spend that stimulus, where do they go? They go to corporations like Amazon, which reported massive earnings in 2021. They wish they had those earnings now, because 2 weeks ago, Amazon took a bath in their corporate earnings and the projections from later this year. Why? Because people do not have money to spend like they had discretionary spending last year. Why? Because the inflationary pressures is causing them to not spend the type of money. And what does that mean? GDP starting to shrink. The gross national product of the U.S. economy is shrinking. And my projections is it's going to go to a negative number. Negative number is recession starting next year. GDP was supposed to be 7.1% last month. It came at 6.9%. It's shrinking to 3.7%, says the White House. Wall Street saying 4. I'm saying 0. A new bank today as well saying recession next year. So Bezos' first comment that if you did Build Back Better Act, you would cause more inflation, untrue. But the second quote is very true, that the inflationary pressure causes the most impact on low-income people. Absolutely. His next quote is raising corporate taxes is fine to discuss, but taming inflation is critical to discuss. Putting them together is misdirection. Joe Biden, meantime, is going to modify his stance on Build Back Better Act. This is different breaking news than even yesterday. I had told you over the last few days that I thought that Joe Biden was going to do Build Back Better Act with a new version by bipartisan support. No. In fact, the progressives, in fact, even his wife, have now told Joe Biden to really throw the Republicans to the wayside because this is not the group that he thought he was dealing with less than 6 months ago. I never expected, this is a quote from Joe Biden just a few hours ago, I never expected the MAGA Republicans who seem to control the Republican Party now to have able to control the entire Republican Party. I never anticipated that happening. The great MAGA king is out of control. Joe Biden, here's a quote then from senior advisor to the White House, Mike Donnellan, in a new comment release and obtained by LA News. President Biden ran on the message that he needed to bring people together to face the challenges of our country. That's bipartisan support. But the American people embrace that message, but Biden's numbers have been soft, and he's not fighting Republicans or the liberals he weighs he needs to, says Alex Conan, senior advisor to Marco Rubio's 2016 campaign. What Biden got elected on was turning off that combativeness, and that tactic is now isolating the progressives in the midterm elections. Interesting. So do I think bipartisan support is going to be done for Build Back Better Act? No, in lieu of these new quotes. These new quotes are basically saying Joe Biden would not do it by bipartisan support. He has a lot of bad problems now with Republicans that he didn't even have 6 months ago. And with that, let's go over that incredible Build Back Better Act. The incredible Build Back Better Act has 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons of checks. So that would give you additional checks on top of, yes, in addition to, yes, the 4 stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state. Let's go over these checks in preview of tonight's Evenings LALATE in prime time. There is about $15,000 to $80,000 incredible checks in the Build Back Better Act. 3 clusters and 3 add-ons, like $250 billion of free home health care. MSCs, like the $25,000 for the purchase of a new home. And that amounts to about $15,000 to $80,000 of incredible checks. 3 clusters like the first, hazard pay, $4,000 of elder care, home repairs, $3,600 for the children. Like the second cluster, paid leave. Like the third cluster, seniors and free internet for all, farmers checks, independent contractor checks, dental, vision, and hearing. Guess who spoke over the weekend? Yeah, Bernie. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, spoke over the weekend, and he says it's sabotage. That's his exact word. Sabotage is what he describes what Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema have done to Build Back Better Act. Do I agree? No. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. Joe Manchin has made very clear over the last year that he needs corporate taxes to be raised in Build Back Better Act. Kristen Sinema is now indicating that she will not support Build Back Better Act if it has corporate raises of taxes in there. Interesting across the board. The Build Back Better Act has 2 things going for it. And what are those 2 things? Bad economic data, number 1, and the midterm elections. The Republicans sitting back and watching Joe Biden's poll ratings getting worse by the hour. And that is why Joe Biden needs to get Build Back Better Act done. And that's why they have an inherent vote currently set up for before Memorial Day weekend. They want to get those checks out to you before you vote. You don't vote on election night. You vote 3 months ahead of time because most people vote by mail. That means you want to get that check by August. To get it by August, you would get that solidification, the negotiations wrap this month. The other part of the data is the bad economic news. Ben Bernanke, former head of the Federal Reserve, spoke minutes ago. He says the question why the Federal Reserve delayed on responding to this economy, that was a mistake in retrospect, and I think we agree it was a mistake. He says that Jay Powell was part of Bernanke's taper tantrum in 2013. That was a very unpleasant experience. This was the quote, which was very unpopular experience. He wanted to avoid that type of thing by giving people much more warning as possible, and the Fed didn't respond to the inflationary pressures until mid-2021. He says the inflation rate at 2% target for spring 2021 did not happen, as you saw on this channel. Jay Powell was projecting a 2% transitory or temporary inflation rate in December 2021, carrying into earlier this year. Got it wrong. I said inflation is going to be 8% in December. It was. And this is big news then when we talk about your Build Back Better Act and also your SS300. One, because the inflationary pressures is hurting millions of Americans right today. That's why you need Build Back Better Act. Two, it helps SS300. SS300 is a Joe Biden presidential platform to swap COLA for inflation. By swapping that COLA for inflation, you lock in more money. How does it work? COLA is your current benchmark, and if Joe Biden made that phone call to the Social Security Administration head and swap that COLA to inflation, you'd lock in 8% right now because Jay Powell has still not gotten inflation down. And by the end of the year, I'm projecting that inflation will be at 4%. That's good news. That would be another $100. If Joe Biden had made this phone call in December, you would have already gotten $200 more per month. Starting in December, it's been 6 months since then, that would be about $1,200. Yes. If Joe Biden makes that phone call today and swap that COLA for inflation, then what would you get across the board? Well, over this 1 year, if my numbers are correct, that would be $300 more per month over 12 months, $3,600 of additional money. When we look at the situation across the board for that SS300, this is the one that doesn't make sense. Hashtag Joe Make the Call. Take this video and share it on Facebook, social media, and tag the president, tag POTUS, tag Joe Biden. Hashtag Joe Make the Call. Tell him make that phone call to the Social Administration head to swap COLA for inflation. Once your benefits go up, they never go down. Let's go back to that Jeff Bezos quote from Amazon. He says the inflation hits and hurts the least affluent the most. Inflation is a regressive tax and hurts the most the least affluent. Absolutely correct. The people most impacted by this economy are low income or beneficiaries. The way you deal with this is that SS300. Doesn't need a bill, doesn't need a Republican, doesn't need a Democrat, just needs a phone call. He's done this before. He did this with SNAP when he said people are not getting paid enough money for SNAP for their food. He picked up the phone and called the Department of Agriculture. He did this also for education. When he wanted to forgive some student loan debts, he made the phone call to the education head, Miguel Cardona, saying, let's forgive some debts. What he needs to do on this front is pick up the phone and contact the Social Security Administration head, swap that COLA to inflation, and that would give you $200 more per month, starting right now on average. And then by the end of this year, $300 more per month every month. Then we could wait for Build Back Better Act to get passed to get those incredible $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. But don't forget, I have been dedicated since day one on this channel for getting people money. If you're new to this channel, let me tell you what I do. I've gotten people over $50 million of money from this channel because I know when Congress is slowing up, there's money available for you somewhere else, but I need to find it. And I have. A check A, a check B, and a check C is in every U.S. state. And these four stimulus checks in every U.S. state are astronomical sums of money. They ain't $600. These have a lot more zeros behind them. Upwards of $80,000 of 4 stimulus checks have landed by direct deposit in members' hands because they have listened. They have become a member. They have applied, and they have pounced. How do you get these incredible checks? They're coming up after the commercial break. Let's go back to what Bernanke said about the situation today. He says, you know what, what's an issue is the current situation. I think it's better where we learned a lot from the 1970s. Bezos says inflation is aggressive tax that hurts the most affluent. But what about the situation for the next 2 days? Over the next 2 days, we're going to see a lot of major talk. But will it be walk or just talk? I'm projecting it's going to be a lot of talk. And who are they? They are Fed governors. Fed governors, your favorite people. They're going out, having the press appearances, and they're going to be talking about this economy. Fed President John Williams, right at the time of this recording, right now speaking. Then tomorrow at this time, we have St. Louis President James Bullard. We have Patrick Harker an hour later. And then we have Jay Powell at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. When is Jay Powell going to say? What is Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mesker later that day, or Charles Evans later that night? Or what is Harker on Wednesday and also Thursday going to say? We're getting down inflation to 2% later this year, and that these interest rate spikes of half basis point are working. True, false, very false, doubly false. Number one, they're not getting inflation down to 2% later this year. It's going to hover at about 4% at least, and maybe even higher. Jay Powell has had now 6 months to get this inflation down. He's not doing it. Why? He doesn't have the tools. So is he going to get inflation down to 2% later this year? No. Is he going to get inflation down this month? No. Last week we had the CPI and the PPI number released. And when comparing the month of April to the month of March, it was much the same. When comparing the month before, March to February, it actually went higher. What Jay Powell's doing is not working. Wall Street knows it. You know it. Why? Because he doesn't have the tools for this. Supply chain disruption is not solved by raising interest rates. Federal Reserve has known this for decades before. And the tools do not work. Raising interest rates gives you higher rates, like mortgage rates, like credit card debt, like flexible interest rates, anything you pay on debt. Does it curb spending? Yeah. Does it solve supply chain disruption? No. The current inflationary environment right now is not caused because of consumer sentiments. It's caused because of supply chain disruption. Number one, coming off of COVID in the United States. Number two, Putin invading Ukraine. Number three, China on lockdown because of COVID. Let's analyze the 3 supply chain disruptions right today and the breaking news on all 3 of them. Brand new this morning. Number one, COVID in the United States. Well, Anthony Fauci now reports that there's hotspots all across the country, and those hotspots may also cause supply chain disruption to get worse from number one. Number two, Putin and Ukraine. A series of new reports coming up late in this recording about 6 stimulus says that there is a big push underway to get a ceasefire between Putin and Ukraine because Putin is losing badly in Ukraine. If that happens, that war is over. Most people think that this war is not going to be months long. It's going to be just a few more weeks, and that's it. That's good news for you for that supply chain disruption. What about the third one? China coming off a lockdown. Yeah. As reported on this weekend, last weekend, China is coming off a lockdown. Interesting. It's going to cause an imbalance for inflation. One part of inflation, it's going to help a lot, and that is its products into distribution, our products made there into distribution. Those factories will reopen. Those shippers will start to reship. That will bring down the price of those goods. Great news on that front. But also bad news. The price of gasoline is going to skyrocket. China is one of the biggest consumers of gasoline internationally, and they are not driving. They're on lockdown. When they come off a lockdown, they start to drive. And guess what's going to happen? My prediction is while the price of Brent crude today is at 112 and flat, I'm predicting it's going to go to 120. 120, boy folks, get ready, because that price of gasoline at the pump is going to go up even higher. That supply chain disruption, again, Jay Powell has nothing to fix. Price of gasoline, Jay Powell has no tools with. Putin in Ukraine, Jay Powell has no tools with. What he's doing by raising interest rates is to battle consumer sentiments and battle the consumer and their buying power. But that is not particularly what's at issue. Remember, when we look at the Build Back Better Act, the good news is that Build Back Better Act helps improve sentiments when it comes to spending. But no time to wait for any of these events, because the great news is that I have found it for you. What have I found for you? A forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. There's not one, there's 3 forced stimulus checks, or 3 types of forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. There's actually not even 3 checks. There's a lot more than 3 checks. And how do you get them? They're coming up after the commercial break. Then we'll be going over to 6 stimulus. But first, become a member. Go to the top of the chat and pin comment. Get that incredible newsletter signed up. Membership signed up. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in the second half of this video, we're going to go over those big checks. Members of this channel have gotten those checks. These are the checks you want to get right now. This is not 2020. This is not 2021. And I'll analyze why the situation is so dramatically different today, and why you as a member, why you as a viewer, why you as a subscriber are doing so well and getting so much money. And why, if you just found this channel, you're going to learn very quickly, because that's what I do here. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, the big second half and those big checks are coming up. Are you ready? I'm ready. Become a member during the commercial break, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. As the toast is toasting, the butter is butter, and the coffee is brewing as we go into a big second half of Mornings LA, live on air from the shores of Santa Monica. Here is the members community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LA from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Good morning. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is gorgeous here along the coast. Did you become a member during the commercial break? I hope you did. I saw the new members that joined up during the commercial break. Welcome. Oh boy, there's already 5 of them in this last few minutes. The forced stimulus checks are now in every U.S. state. It's important for you to get these checks. I'm going to show you why later in this recording. But first, we're going to start with the actual checks. And are you ready for them? I'm ready for them as well. Let's go to the details starting right now on Mornings. If you're new to this channel, let me tell you what I do. I deliver you the financial news. I deliver you the projections of where the financial markets are going. And also, I get you the money. No one covers this anywhere else in the United States. So do not expect to see this coverage anywhere else. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in print media, broadcast media, or local news. They haven't been covering for 2 years. They're not going to cover in the next 2 years either. The forced stimulus checks are the result of the president's announcement, but also the result of my research. It takes hours every single day to find these checks for you. And when the president announces them, they're not on prime time. They're announced in a buried press release. And that's what I did several weeks ago. In March, when I understood that the Build Back Better Act was not getting passed, I started looking for these announcements, and I found the checks. First, check A, then check B, then check C, then check D. There'll be more checks. That's why you want to become a member and stay a member. So you ready? Let's go get some checks. The first check is check A. It's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state, and it pays a lot. Now, these checks I'm going to show you are massive payouts. This is not 2020. This is not 2021. These are big payout checks. $6,500 to $12,000 is check A. It's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. The income qualification, a single individual, $75,000 or less. Married couple, $150,000 or less. And if you're on benefits like veterans benefits, Social Security, you can get this check. How do you get it? Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, hit that bell at the front of this channel and set the notifications to all on. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go into the newsletter and go right down to Check A. There it is. You click the link and it sends you right into the online application for Check A. All the instructions are in the newsletter and go get it. Huge sums of money. A $6,500 to $12,000 Check A is in every U.S. state. The naming system on this channel by letters, I created it. So don't think that someone else refers to them by these lettering systems. It's a creation of this channel. All right, let's go to Check B. A $15,000 to $80,000 forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Whoa, let's just look at that number and let it digest. $15,000 to $80,000. If you got an $80,000 check, how long could you survive on that? A year? 6 months? Yeah, I don't mess around on this channel. I get big checks. I don't get those puny little $600 checks. These are monstrous checks, and this is why this is a different year. This ain't 2020. This ain't 2021, where people just get puny little checks landing sporadically here and there. No, this is 2022. Astronomically large checks, but you got to go get them. How do you get Check B? Very similar to Check A. First, subscribe. Second, become a member. Third, go in the membership newsletter Monday through Friday. Go down to Check B and get the link. Click the link and go right in and apply. Get that incredible check. Average view of this channel is getting 66 to 80,000. That forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Check C is a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Now, in the case of Check C, it's not one check. It's lots of checks. It's a category of checks. It is rent. It is utilities. It is mortgage assistance. And it's multiple checks for each of the subject matters. Averaging $2,000 a month, landed by direct deposit. How do you get that Check C? Go into that membership newsletter. Go down to Check C and explains for you where to call for. Check C is a calling check. It's not a check you apply online. It says in the membership newsletter where to call, what to say, and how to do it. And it's a lot of money. It's an astronomical lot of money. And you can get multiple checks of the same subject matter. So, for example, you can get rent from one of the nonprofits. You can also get rent from the county. You can get 5 different utilities, and then you can get one of the nonprofits to help with the utilities as well. Go get that incredible Check C. Again, you go right into the membership newsletter and go get it across the board. Check D is also a forced stimulus check in some states. A, B, and C is in every U.S. state. Fourth, stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Check D is not in every U.S. state. It's currently about 24 states. It's also in the membership newsletter. Some states are actually sending out a measly automatic check, $600, $500, $2,000. It ain't $80,000 checks. How do you learn about Check D? It's also in the membership newsletter. I go through all the states, and I tell you what every state is paying out and how they're paying it out. And that is why it's all wrapped up so simply for you across the board. Forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state, number 1. Number 2, Build Back Better Act would propose to give you additional checks. Number 3, SS300, if Joe made the phone call, hashtag Joe make the call, would give you another $200 more per month right now on top of the $300 across the board. And we're not done there yet. Also in the membership newsletter is all that and plus what else? Student loan debt forgiveness. The president has forgiven a lot of student loan debts, and congratulations to all the viewers who have gotten so much money from this channel in recent days. I've been compiling your private messages on social media like Facebook. Continue to send them on in. If I haven't featured them yet, I'm going to feature them all together. And if you're in the live chat right now, post your success stories that you've gotten from this channel. Whether it's A, B, or C, or D, post in the live chat right now. Because when you do, you inspire other people, and I'll feature your success stories on air as well. Student loan debt forgiveness getting really exciting as the president has forgiven a lot of debt, but will forgive more, likely. He forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, people who went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, people whose debts were procured by fraud by the university against them, and individuals who are in default are put in good standing. What's next up? Well, the president says not doing $50,000 of student loan debt, but many insiders believe he'll do $10,000. Interesting across the board. That likely announcement, when will that come? I think he's holding it. I really do. This one sort of senses like he's holding it. I think he's holding it for the midterm elections. Which brings us then to sixth stimulus. Oh boy, remember sixth stimulus? Yes, that is that Western allies, that trifecta of Germany, France, and the United States to battle the impacts of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on our economy. And what's the latest details on sixth stimulus today? This is where it gets really interesting. A series of new quotes by the trifecta, Macron and Scholz out of Germany, says they're a little bit worried about something. What is that? They're worried that Ukraine wins the war badly. Whoa, what does this mean? What they initially always thought was that the war would just sort of be a wash and then both sides would go home. Now they're worried that Ukraine won't end the war and that will basically sort of try to pummel the socks off of Russia, because Russia's losing really badly right now. And the quotes out of Macron and Scholz today says they're worried that Ukraine is trying to desecrate Russia in this war. That may cause Russia to become more unhinged. We're not at war with Russia, says Macron in a new comment today. But we have a duty to stand with Ukraine to achieve a ceasefire and then build peace. Notice that key word, ceasefire. Let's go to Scholz. There must be a ceasefire in Ukraine as quickly as possible. The concern that these two countries are saying is that they're worried that Ukrainian wind too strong could destabilize Russia and make Russia more uneased at this whole situation. Wow. Now, what's important to understand is that sixth stimulus would involve dealing with the oil, dealing with the wheat, dealing with the grain. All those situations are worse today across the board. The White House does not address any of those situations, and again, this impacts low-income families and people on benefits. There's a wheat shortage because Putin invaded Ukraine. That's what's supposed to be solved in sixth stimulus. There's that energy situation with the gasoline going up higher. As I told you in this video, I think it's going to go to 120. That's going to be at least 20 cents more at the pump than what you're paying right now. That's my projection. We'll see what happens when China starts to reconsume gasoline in the next few days. And then everything else that is caused by recession. Not just our recession in these countries who are the Western allies, Germany, France, United, and Italy. If they cannot afford gasoline, if they cannot afford a loaf of bread, they go in recession. And I've been telling you for a few months that this is a concern in March. Well, here we are in May, and there has been no solution to it across the board. Let's turn to another part of equation, which is so important for you to know today. And that part of the equation is where this economy is and where this economy is going, and the importance of being financially ahead of the game when the situation is changing so dramatically. I know you may have seen stimulus in 2020. I know you may have done or not done something for stimulus in 2021. I know you'll remember what happened in 2020 or 2021, but I got to tell you, this is 2022. And if you think you've seen or experienced 2023, you've likely not. You've likely not experienced 2023 or 2024 because we have not had stagflation in a generation. We're going to recession for 2 years, starting next year. I predicted this 3 months ago. And at the time, people looked at me crazy. Now it's the big talk of the town. More banks daily are saying words closer to recession, like 35% chance, likely, very potential. I was the first to say it was happening next year. And I believe it's already happening in some industries like housing and auto right now. Why is this important? Because you're going to have other quotes coming out. And those other quotes sometimes coming out suggest that the falls of May 2022 are over and that June is going to be all great news. No, absolutely not. Here's some of the quotes that came in over the weekend. Fair Lead Strategist founder Katie Stockton, when talking about the Treasury note, the 10-year Treasury note, she believes there's an upward resistance level of 3.25. We believe we're going to be consolidating the Treasury yields in the dollar. Such steep uptrend is unsustainable. Do I believe that? No, I don't believe there's I don't believe there's a resistance level of 325. I think the 10-year Treasury note's going to continue to go up as Jay Powell does half basis point after half basis point. And that erosion will impact you if you have credit card debt, if you have student loan debt, and you have to pay it. If you have car loans or anything that's based upon a flexible rate, it's going to hit really badly. Here comes another quote. This quote is from Jim Paulson, Chief Investment Strategist at the Luthor Group. He says, look at the FANG stocks going from 14% of market cap down to 9%. I think a lot of the tech bleeding is done. Done? No, hasn't even just started. hasn't even started. We are starting a bear market. It's going to be 2 years of bear market. To think that someone is saying that the bear market is over after 4 days or 2 weeks, not happening. Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and Google, FANG stocks, Amazon, sorry to leave you out there, the situations are starting. And why is it so important for you to know? I don't want you to be reading that type of analysis and think that good news is on the horizon. It's not. Economic disparity, economic pressure, inflationary, recessionary concerns, stagflation, all going to get much more worse week after week in this economy until 2023 hits, and get ready for the carpet under your feet to be dragged out. Horrible situation. So, you may have seen something in 2020 or 2021. You may have lulled yourself into complacency where you just sort of sit back and hope a $600 check lands in your wallet. No time or place to do that. You got to grab the cash that's available right today. That's what I singularly know what to do. I know how to get people money. I've gotten people a lot of money, $50 million plus from this channel. No one has gotten more people more money, nor been dedicated to getting more people more money of all walks of life. I've gotten people who are single, married, on benefits, not on benefits, children, not on children. And that's when I say there's a forced stimulus check now in every U.S. state. I'm being very tough-handed on this card and saying, go get it. Go get check A. Go get check B. Go get check C. Don't sit around and say I'm wishing for something that's going to come from Congress at a later date. No, you can't wait for that later date because this economy is getting bad very quickly. You got to grab these big checks across the board. Become a member, go to the top of the channel, and the pinned comment, and get those incredible newsletters Monday through Friday. Let's take a step back to a longtime viewer. Her name is Nisi, and she embodies everything that I teach on this channel. Embodies absolutely everything I teach on this channel. One of the things I always say is get money, and go get some more money. She doesn't stop. Let's go over her graphic from December 2021, last year. She was one of many viewers who got about $30,000 at the time. And here she was. She had gotten $23,000 from rent. Here was Nisi at the time, $20,000. And I think she got about $3,000 for utilities. So what has she done since this graphic of late last year? She's gotten about $8,000, 4 to 5 times more. She keeps on going back and getting money because money's available. Why would you not do it? She makes the effort and gets the money. Other people have done the same effort as well. Here is Lorraine. She was at 105. She went to 120. Here's John. Here is Mark. He was at 50, went to 100, then went to 166. He's probably working on more money as well. If you're a viewer of this channel that got money from this channel somewhere in the last 2 years, it's your turn to get more of that money. Check C Me had been the money you got before. We didn't call Check C in those days. We called third stimulus. Before that, we called purple. There's a lot of money for Check C. Go get some more money for Check C. And then if you qualify for Check A, go get Check A and Check B. The effort is king because the effort involves pouncing and getting the money. People don't make the effort to get the money are going to get left behind. They're going to think that what they see in this economy right now is going to be consistent. No, it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse very quickly. And that's why many months before this economy gets worse, I'm telling you, here's the money, go get it. It's May 2022. In February of 2022, I said we're going to recession. In March of 2022, I started finding these checks because I started looking for them. My job to find you money to get you the money. My job to tell you where this economy is going. I've been predicting this economy correctly since last year, saying there was 8% inflation in December, saying that inflation is going to hit you really badly and it's not going to be temporary, telling you Jay Powell's got it wrong. I'm telling you right now, Jay Powell's not going to get inflation down. We're going to recession. The economy is going to get much worse. And that is why when there's a wad of cash on the table, go get that wad of cash. It's right in front of you. You deserve it. Go get it. And it ain't $600. It's a lot of money. If you've had a success stories, post in live chat, send it to me in private message on Facebook. I'll feature them on air. I'm trying to combine all the incredible success stories because I have seen a lot of the last few days. And we're not talking about small checks again. We're talking about huge tens of thousands of dollars of checks. This is what you deserve. You can get it. Step 1, subscribe. Go to the top of the channel and step 1, hit that subscribe button. You're watching America's most watched comprehensive financial news channel for this subject matter. Nowhere else you can see this coverage anywhere else except here. Number 2, you're watching the show that has the number 1 financial program in prime time. It's Evenings LA every night at 5 o'clock. Tonight's show is going to be a big one. So step 1, go to the financial channel and hit that subscribe button. Number 2, go and become a member. The link is at the top of the chat, the pinned comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Then hit that bell. There's a little bell at the front of the channel. Hit the notifications to all notifications on. And then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go right in there, get that check A, apply. Go right in there, get that check B, apply. Go right in there, learn about check C, make the phone calls, at least 15 of them, and apply. And then when you do that, apply again. That's how you do it like a Nisi. That's how you get these incredible sums of money. Become a member today because those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state, they will run out. But I'm now focusing on check E, F, G, and H. Yes, I'm moving on. I'm moving on to getting you more checks because there will be more checks, and you're only going to see them here on LALATE. And with that, join me next at noontime, LA. We got a big show coming up at noontime. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day. Always stay focused, always stay positive, always stay motivated. And don't forget to tag and advocate, hashtag Joe Make the Call. Share this video on social media to have Biden swap coal to inflation. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.